Hello, welcome to our broadcast. Today we're going to talk about how to manage the project risk from Project for the Web using Power Apps. I'm Diego Pereira. I've been working with Project Online and Microsoft Solutions since 2005. And I'm together with Christine. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello. I'm Christine, and I'm an architect in the Modern Workplace team here in Proactive. And I've been working with Microsoft Solutions for 8 years, and the past few years with the Power Platform.
Yes. So if you start about Power Apps, if I need to explain what is Power Apps, for me I would say it's just a tool where you can create apps for your phone or tablet or also browse, right?
Exactly. So you can provide your users with a different interface than the normal solution interface, and then they have the options to create risk in this example we will be going through later from their phone.
Okay. So for example, Project for the Web, it is an app, and I could create several apps for the departments that I need in my company. So one app per department. And then if we show the solution, for example, if you go to the Project for the Web and then open one of my project, what I would like to do is I go to my risks, and then I want to create a new risk.
Yes. So
From here, of course, right, you click new risk, I can create risk, I can see the risk matrix, all the information about that risk. But then, let's say I'm in a meeting, I don't want to open my computer and go to a browser and connect and so on. So I want to do that from my phone. Can I do that?
Sure, you can do that. So we have prepared a Power App for that purpose here. Then later we will be taking you through it so you can learn how to do this yourself. But first we have a screen here where we can see all our projects. So if we open the same project as we just had on the solution, then we will see all the risks which are part of this project. We will be able to go into a risk and see the same information as we have over here.
Okay.
We'll be able to edit it if we want to do some modifications to it. We will, of course, also be able to create a new risk on this project. So you have a lot of great options from your Power App.
And I can see you have the colors there, and are you using the same colors from the My Risk Matrix that I have in the Project for the Web?
Yes. So if we just close this one for a moment, you can see you have a matrix here. And based on the calculations for that matrix, we reuse that to do some conditional images here. So based on what is the impact and probability of this risk, then we show the different colors.
That's great. So I have created some simple Power Apps. How can I do this? How can I connect these Power Apps to my project risk from Project for the Web?
Yes. So let's start from scratch. So in this case, we are doing a Canvas Power App. So we will start by selecting Canvas. Then you can start from, since a project on the web are using the Dataverse, or formerly known as Common Data Service, as the data model beneath it, you could start here, but we are doing integrations to both the projects table and risk tables.
Yeah.
So we will start from a blank one, so we don't have to redo the default settings.
Okay, you have some predefined layouts to use for phone or tablets and so on.
Yes, and in this case, we will do the phone one. You can, of course, do exactly the same stuff in the tablets layout.
Okay.
Yes, so right here we have a blank one. We will start to not create everything from scratch. We will use a default screen, so we will use a default list screen. Then once that is created, we can remove the default blank one. So we will just delete this one.
Yes.
I will try to zoom in a little so you guys hopefully can see what we're going. Then first, what we will focus on this is the naming convention, because we will have more than one screen. So to make it easier to find the right one later by search, or if we need to troubleshoot, then we will rename it.
And also follow best practice from Microsoft on how have the names and so on.
Exactly. So in this case, because it's a screen, we will have a prefix called SC and then an underscore. And this first one, which is a list screen, we will have for the projects. So therefore, we will call it SC underscore projects. Then we have a gallery, and it's this gallery we want to connect to our projects. So in the same way, we will do a naming convention. We will rename it. And because it's a gallery, we will prefix it, well, TL. and then underscore, and then we will still call it projects because this gallery will be connected to projects.
Okay, so then the idea of the GL is just to identify that's the gallery, and then you put a name just to make it clear what we are doing there, right? Okay.
So, for instance, on the next screen we are going to do, we will make a filter on a gallery based on the selected item in this gallery. And it's a lot easier to find the right gallery if we know they're all prefixed with the GL for gallery.
Okay.
Then we will go over here and we will now find our data source. So in this case, it's the projects. It will search down in different sources. So it could also have been that you have some SharePoint sources, but in this case, it's the Dataverse. So we will take this one, projects, and wait for it to load.
So now I can see already all my projects from my project for the web on this part here.
Exactly. It could be that we don't, I believe this is the creation date. That might not be relevant in this case. So we can go in, we can change the different data which are shown. We can also change the layout. So in this case, we are only interested in the title. So we will go and show the title only.
Okay.
Then before doing the next steps, we will create another list screen. So
now what you're going to do is, when you click on a specific project, you want to show the risks inside that project, right?
Yes, exactly. And I'm just having a little hard time because when I zoom in, I would like it to still show my header. Okay, I hope you are still able to see it. And so in this case, again, we will start by renaming it. So in this case, we will rename it to SC_risks. And we will take the gallery and we will rename it to GL_. And then we will call it risks by project because it will be a gallery which are filtered to only show the risk for the project we selected on the first screen. So again, we go over to select our data source. This time I will be searching for the risk list. And now we are connected to this list. As we can see, as soon as we connect to our data source, it already shows up here that our items are coming from this list. But we want to make a filter because we don't want to see all risk. We only want to see the ones which are related to the selected project.
So that's the tricky part, to do the connection between the project from the first screen to the risks on the second screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So here we will say that we want to filter our data source, which are risk, and we want to filter it based on the related project. So I will take the project column on the risk table, and now for the ease of it, I will take the name, and then I will say that it should be equal to our GL projects and the selected project from our gallery and the name of that project. So now here, we haven't, here we can see the risk for the projects which are default selected over here, but we haven't really selected one together yet. It could also be that we want to enable search. Yeah. So it's possible to search for a risk. Then we can say start with, and we can say that we want to search for the risk title. And then we have already, because we are using a default screen, we have a text box, a text search box. So I will search for that. This one, .text. So now what I'm saying is that the text within this text search box, if that is the same as starting with the title of our risk, then it should find that one. So let's just see why it's complaining here. That's always nice when that happens, when you're live.
No worries. Yeah. And how can you later try and see if it's working? Can you do like a play to see?
Yes, you can do that. So first we will just do a quick over here, because we want to, when you select a project over here in this gallery, then we want to navigate to our risk screen.
The next one.
So we can see the filtered risk for that project. So here you can see it's much easier when we have prefixed them with the SC. So now up here I can go to a play mode. So I can go down. I can find this, which is the project we also looked at over here.
Yeah.
And if we go into that, then we can see all the risks which are for this specific project.
And then this is live connection. So if you change something over there in the project for the web, it will be already updated here as well. You don't need to refresh or anything.
Over here, you will have to, if we go out so we can see. That's why I'm having a problem with this search, because over here you can see there is a refresh button.
There is a refresh button.
Right now, by default, it's not set to do anything, but for that one, you can say refresh and then choose your data source, which in this case is a risk. Then you will make sure to refresh the risk.
Okay.
Another thing is that right now we actually don't have any way to go back to our first screen. We can do it over here, but not in the live app.
Okay.
So we would like to, I will just copy this icon here, place it next to it, and change the icon. So let's just call our first screen, if it's home, then we use the home icon. And then we can, instead of the refresh from the other icon, then here we will say navigate. And then we will now navigate to our project screen. That means that now, this is really annoying. 2 seconds, I will just save it and then reopen it, so we hopefully get the full app. So you can do some talking in the meantime.
so then now you are saving, and then after that you just need to publish, and then the app will be available for any user that can see that app, right?
So if we go over here, right now it's not shared with anyone else than me.
Yeah, okay.
Then I will go over here and not edit mode here. Then let's so we can see the full screen right now.
So actually the commands are quite simple to refresh or move to the next screen and so on.
Yes. So again, we find our project, we go in. If we use this one, we go back to the projects. We might, of course, also want to rename these titles, which by default just are named titles. So for instance, up here on our project screen, we might want to call it projects.
It's just a header to identify where you are. Okay.
Yes. And later I will show you on some of our other screens, I will show you how you can do it dynamic. So it could be, for instance, you have a form screen, which are sometimes it's for a new item, sometimes it's for edit an existing item.
Okay.
So you want to have a different header based on whether it's the new or an edit item. So I will show that as well. So if we head back, yes, then on here we will call it risk. Then now we would like to be able to go into one of our risk and be able to see the details. So we will add a new screen. This time we will add a forms screen. Again, we get some out of the box by using these predefined screens. So this one again.
But you could create from scratch.
You can create it from scratch if you don't like the layout.
To define everything, all the buttons and box and everything, rename and so on.
Exactly.
Okay, it's just more work. Yeah.
So it's more if you're just getting started with Power Apps, then this is the easy way because you get some out-of-the-box features. If you are more used to it, if you're a power user of it, then you can play around and go crazy with your own layouts.
Okay. And normally, do you go to like a Microsoft site to see the commands? How do you learn this? Like navigate or refresh? Because if I don't know anything, you use Bing and say, okay, how do I refresh?
Yeah, there is some very good documentation from Microsoft where you can look up the different available functions, and there is always some examples on how to use these functions, so that is always very helpful.
Okay.
There is also a lot of good videos by the community, Microsoft community, where you can also get a lot of good advices.
Great. I will check that later and try to create my own Power Apps.
So this one we will call risk detail. And we will also rename the edit form because we're going to have one more screen where we also have an edit form. So to make it easy to find it, we will rename this one to edit form _ risk view, because in this case it will be a view form only. Over here, we can see that we have the option to select a default mode. And in this case, we will select that it's the view mode. That means we cannot edit anything. We can only view it. Then, of course, we need to take our data source, and it's the risk. Then it, by default, loads some different fields. It could be that we want to show some other fields or in a different sequence. So, for instance, here, I want to grade it on to be at the end. I also want to see the project. In this case, I'm already on a project, but it could still be nice to see the project. And I can just drag and drop to move it around. We have the data source in place, but we need to find a way to tell this form which item we're going to show.
Okay.
Yes. So it will be the item which is selected in our gallery risk by project. So we will take that one and say selected, and then it will know that it is this item.
And it's already showing, so it's super. Now it's super simple for me.
That's good to hear. Again, we have the title up here. And now just to do some difference so we don't put in a static text, then I would actually like it to be the title of the risk that we are currently viewing. So I will put in the GL risk by project. That's selected. Oh, sorry. That's selected. And that title, because I know that the title column of the risk is called title. So now up here, we can actually see it's showing the title of the item that we're currently viewing.
And on this title, yeah, so
we can make it smaller.
Yeah, the font size, okay.
If we want
to
see
everything. So you have all
the
possibilities and the properties there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Then we have some buttons up here. This one, we want us to navigate back to our risk screen. So we can again use the navigate function and then just put in which screen we want to have. Let me see. So there. So if we go up here, click on it, we will come back. If we go into one, here again, we need to select our navigate to. So again, on this gallery, it says by default parent select parent, which means it takes the item that you are on when you click on this icon, and then you can say that we should now navigate to the risk details screen. So if we go in, let's just take another one for example, then we can see here and we can see that it shows us the title of this item.
Okay.
Then, because we use the default form screen, then it's right now showing this one, where it has a default unselect property, which will submit the form if we do any changes. But since this is a view only, we don't want to do any changes. Instead, we want to change this to an edit icon, and when you use that, you will go to a new screen where you can actually modify this item. But first, I want to add that extra screen. Because it will be a lot similar to this one, it will just be a different default mode. Yeah. Then instead of creating a new screen, I will duplicate the existing one. So I will duplicate it here. Then again, I will rename it. So instead of risk detail, I will call it risk edit. And I will also rename this to risk edit. And then I will change the default mode over here to edit, because now we want to edit it.
And then it's the same idea. You can select the fields that you want to edit and so on.
Exactly.
Okay.
And here, let's go back to the screen first. So this one, we want to navigate to our new edit screen. So we want to change the icon to tell the user that this one is if you want to edit this item. Then, because our edit screen is going to be used in two modes, it's going to be used for creating new items and it's going to be used for modifying existing items. Then we want to tell that when we use this one, then it should be in edit form mode. So we want to tell that the risk edit form should be in edit form mode, and then we of course want to navigate to our risk edit screen. Then
so that will identify that you want to.
Yes. So if we go to over here where we have the plus icon instead, then we want to do the same, but here we want to tell them that it should go and have the form in new mode instead. So here we would put new form, and again put our edit form risk edit, and then we will navigate to the same screen as the other one. So if we just go in to see an example, then if we go here, then it's empty. And now we have up here, but that's fine. So if we go out of it and instead go into an item and go from here, we can see it is pre-populated with all the details. Now,
it looks simple now.
Yeah. If we go
After
to
you
the
see how to do it now.
if we go to the new form, then because we already went into a project, then it's annoying for the users if they have to select this project.
The project, okay.
So therefore, we can go and we can set a default. So let me just. By default, it's the properties are locked for this item. So I will go unlock them. Then I will go to the drop down, and I will go to the default selected items. Then I will make an if condition. So if the edit risk edit dot mode is equal to form mode dot new, this meaning that if this one opens up in the new form mode, then we should look up projects where name is equal to the project that we selected on our first gallery. So let's just here.
It's good that the formulas is showing what you could use when you
Yes.
click GL projects dot, and then you have the option
Then
that you
it
could use
suggests.
inside.
And also
then,
here
yeah.
it will tell me that I'm not done with my condition yet, because first I have to do the check, which is
Mhm.
what I have the first part. Then I have to separate by comma and then say what should it do if this condition is true. And then I should separate by comma and then decide what to do if this this check is false.
Okay.
So in this case, I want the let me see, parent default. So this means that if it's not the new form but the edit form of an existing item, then it should instead go in and take the default value of that item that I go into. But as we can see here, if we just try to test, so if we go back, we go out, we go to a completely different one, we click plus, then we can see that it's that project which is default selected on the new form. It could also be when we are, if we are here on our screen, then again we have this different title options. In this case, because we made a duplicate of the risk detail one, it's set to show the title of the item that we're currently editing, but right now it's in new form mode. So that means we do not have a title yet. So in that case, we can do, again, a condition. If edit form risk edit dot mode is equal, let's just get rid of this one, even though we're going to use it in a second, is equal to form mode dot new. Then it should say new risk, and if not, it should say edit risk. Let's just say that. Then right now we can see we are in the new form, so it says new risk. If we go out, we go into one, we're going to edit that one, it says edit risk.
Ah, okay. So then you have a dynamic way to change the name based on your status. That's really useful. And then, so when it's ready, what you need to do now? You just need to publish this and share with some users. How do I get access to this app when it's ready?
So when it's ready, then you can save it. Now we already saved it once. So otherwise, you would do like the first time I did it, where you can select an icon. You can always go in and change the icon and stuff like that. But you would save it. So if we just do that, then you can publish it. And once you published it, you get the share button. And then you can share it. You can look up any users and then share it with that user.
That's simple. And then I can just connect through my phone and then use the app already.
Yes, it's of course important to remember that this one is using the data sources, the projects list and the risk list.
Yeah.
So the user that we're sharing with should of course also have permissions to the data.
The project for the web.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Because otherwise they will not see any content.
And of course, like you did that simple example for me to start with, but you could have a lot of special things. Like I saw you did the coloring based on the matrix, so you could have some specific images also doing the same ifs and formulas. You can create everything like that, right?
Yeah. So it's the same principle. In that case, you would click on the image. You would then go to properties. You will import your images. Now I already have these 3 different kind of images. You will import them. And then up here, where it right now just put the latest image that I imported, then you could do an if condition.
Yeah.
If impact is higher than this and probability less or higher than this, then this color and this color and this color. And then it will have different depending on the data on the given risk.
Okay, that's super cool. So I think I learned something new. So now I know how to create another type of Power Apps. So I did some basic ones before with SharePoint lists and now with Project for the Web. So I don't know if you have any questions from the audience. So far, no. But if you guys have any questions, you can just write it here. So did you do anything like a really cool Power App before, or like you have to create, let's suppose, a matrix inside, and do you have some ideas?
I've done some different Power Apps. So for instance, we done for a customer, they needed a way to manage who could approve payment request.
Yeah.
So they needed a way to make a request to get someone to be approver of a specific department within a specific organization, because this customer do have a lot of different organizations.
Okay, so then the approval process was through also the Power Apps.
Yeah, so through the Power Apps, they put in the request, and then it's binded together with the Power Automate as well. So as soon as they put in that request, it will save the data. In that case, it saved the data to SharePoint, and then it triggered a workflow which went into approval, and once it was approved, then the next part of the app was that you could actually do a payment request and select all the approved approvers. Only approvers which had been through this approval process was able to be selected, and once you put that payment request, it would go to that approver.
Okay, and also with these approvals, can you control security and say, I want to show only for project managers or only for portfolio managers this app? You can control in the same ways that we control Project for the Web, for example, right? So
there's different ways. So you can manage permissions by only sharing the Power App to a specific user group, but you can also manage it by having some filters within the app. So it could be that some screens are only available to some parts of the organization, some specific departments, while others should see something else. So you can do it by having different filters on the current user which logs in, or you can do it by only sharing it to specific user groups.
And you control everything inside the app with formulas and ifs and so on.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that's nice. So we don't have any questions so far, and we are getting out of time now, so I just want to say thank you to show me these nice Power Apps and how to do this together with Project for the Web. I think I learned a new way of doing. And then thank you all for being here. So if you have any questions, you can send email to us or directly to me or Christine. We'll be glad to help.
Yes.
Right?
And it could be that you didn't see the last broadcast about how to integrate with Power Automate to projects on the web, but that is available with Peter Kjær and Christina Helms.
Yeah. Great. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.